Good morning, class. I want to begin by talking about the poem Oranges by Gary Soto. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to read the poem. I'm going to point out its essential elements. What are the poetics that are being used in this poem to convey a message larger than the story that it tells? And we're also going to talk about the images, the rhythm, the language, all those elements that make a poem. So I'm going to begin by reading the poem and then looking at the individual elements that make it up. And this is the same process I want you to go through as you read through these poems I've posted for you, or any other poems that you're interested in. Okay, here we go. Oranges by Gary Soto. The first time I walked with a girl, I was 12, cold and weighted down with 2 oranges in my jacket. December. Frost cracking beneath my steps, my breath before me, then gone. As I walked toward her house, the one whose porch light burned yellow night and day in any weather. A dog barked at me until she came out pulling at her gloves, face bright with rouge. I smiled, touched her shoulder, and led her down the street, across a used car lot and a line of newly planted trees, until we were breathing before a drugstore. We entered, the tiny bell bringing a sales lady down a narrow aisle of goods. I turned to the candies, teared like bleachers, and asked what she wanted. Light in her eyes, a smile starting at the corners of her mouth, I fingered a nickel in my pocket, and when she lifted a chocolate that cost a dime, I didn't say anything. I took the nickel from my pocket, then an orange, and set them quietly on the counter. When I looked up, the lady's eyes met mine and held them, knowing very well what it was all about. Outside, a few cars hissing past, fog hanging like old coats between the trees, I took my girl's hand in mine for 2 blocks, then released it to let her unwrap the chocolate. I peeled my orange that was so bright against the gray of December that from some distance someone might have thought I was making a fire in my hands. All right, so the poem is fairly simple on its surface. Jackie Trimble, Languages and Literatures.